So good morning and welcome to the Evident Proof demo. My name is Ian Taylor. So we run these demos twice weekly at around 10 a.m. on a Tuesday and 4 p.m. on a Thursday London time. And it's either myself or Matt Roden that runs the demos. Any questions you've got can be put over onto the Telegram channel, and either myself, one of my colleagues, or Matt will come back and answer those. So anything that's not clear from the demo, please pop us over some questions and interact with us on Telegram or any of the other social media channels that we've got. So the purpose of the demo really is to give you an overview of what Evident Proof is, how it works, and then what I'll run through is a sample workflow from one of our clients, and we can look at how they use the Evident Proof system to store their data immutably. So what is Evident Proof? Evident Proof is an enterprise platform for storing immutable proof of evidence. So what does that mean, and why is this important to a business? So I'll run into how the platform technology works a little bit. What we do is we take your data or hash of your data structure, and we convert that into something called a proof seal. Now, this can be stored in an immutable way on a technology called the blockchain. So we store this on the blockchain, and the blockchain has some unique properties as it stores data in a decentralized, distributed way across thousands of computers, meaning that that data is stored in a way that it's basically unhackable. So storing your data in an immutable way means that it can't be changed, it can't be tampered with, and it can't be hacked. Now, because of the way that the Evident Proof service works and stores the data, you could take that data in terms of a proof certificate, and you can present this later down the line in a court of law when any of your data integrity is challenged. So in this example, there could be a patent scenario, or it could be an audit or a compliance scenario. What we would do is we would give you proof of your evidence. So we've got a number of clients using the system today. One of them is the largest supplier of government taxi licensing solutions to the UK local government. Now, effectively, their line of business solution deals with the checks and balances around the governance of issuing a taxi license. So why would they need to store this data in a mutable way? Why would maybe somebody challenge this data in the future? So this year alone, there were a number of articles in the press which stated last year that there were 150 taxi licenses were issued to drivers, and some of these, and a good proportion of these, had criminal convictions, drink driving bans, and a number of other misdemeanors. So at this point, there's a burden of proof on the company, and more importantly, the local government, to prove that they carried out all of the checks and balances that are required, and that the results were not somehow falsified by the drivers, or maybe somebody else gained access to their data. So using the Evident Proof service, they are able to prove that these checks and balances have been made and that the data hasn't been tampered with. So the particular line of application that I've been talking about, the taxi licensing software, is a fairly large application and requires hundreds of sort of checks and balances that need to take place. So what we've done is we've created a trimmed down version of a standalone demo, which effectively shows you the process of creating a taxi license and then putting this through the Evident Proof system to convert that to a proof seal, thus storing it immutably and in a distributed fashion on the blockchain network. So what I'll do now is I'm going to log into the Evident Proof platform, and what we're going to do is run through a typical line of application. So in this case, as I've mentioned, we're going to create a taxi license. Now, this information could be any company's data information. It could be from their SaaS solution. It's any data that they wish to store immutably and at some point within the future easily reference if that data is challenged in a court of law. So all of these particular fields that we're looking at here, they can be fully customized to any line of application. And realistically, all they're doing is passing the data from this demo through to the Evident Proof platform, where all the work is actually done in creating the proof certificate. So let me just quickly create a license. So I'm just going to enter in the data here. Tick that the license is going to be active, that we've done a criminal record check. So at this point, there could be hundreds of peripheral checks that have been done, and all of this data could be uploaded as well to the Evident Proof platform. But for the time being, we've just got a simple data structure here. So driver's license, confirm that we've carried out the identity check. And again, this could be related to hundreds of PDFs, hundreds of other documents in any shape or form or size that could be uploaded. So what I do now is if I click on create, I'm creating the taxi license. Now, in the line of application, obviously this data would be automatically pushed back into from your line of business application, and then it would be passed through to the Evident Proof platform. And when it comes into the Evident Proof platform, if we go into the proof seal here, and we can see that this has been created. So the data is now passed from your line of business application through to the Evident Proof system, and the Evident Proof solution has thus created this document here. So let's have a little bit of a look at the data that we're looking at here. So at the top, we've got a dispatch ID, and this is the API call into the service. It's a dispatch of the evidence records into the Evident Proof service. The dispatch evidence itself, the structure of the evidence is a fixed schema, and this is the way that we would have worked with you to present your data to us. And this fixed schema ensures that we can correlate between the evidence and the proof still stored on the blockchain. So we've also got a where and a when. So the where is an IP address. In this case, it could be a geolocation address. If it's your in-house application, it would be whatever IP address that is as well. And then we've got the timestamp as well, which is obviously critical because this is the proof that's recorded on the blockchain, at which point this evidence was submitted. So as we work down, we've got the PSUX reference. So this is really a cross reference here, and it's checking that this key is the key that relates back to the same data in your data or your line of business application. Now, this data could really be a single key or a compound key or an ID or an asset. This is whatever you need to correlate it back to in the source of your data in your systems. So as you can see here, we've got the key and the value, which would be very familiar to any developers as a way of storing evidence. And in this scenario, as you can see, we're only storing a single key. In fact, a dispatch could store many pieces of evidence, and these could be in the shape of forms, documents, you name it, it can be stored. And then we've got the JSON here. So this is a JSON representative representation of the forms data, and this could be again a single field, multiple field, it could be a form, it could be the English dictionary. Basically, it can be any data that you need to store within the hash seal. So the proof seal itself, and this is a hash of all of this data that we've been talking about, and effectively what the proof seal is used for is a checksum verification of all of this data. Now, none of the data is revealed in this proof seal, but what it does is prove your data. So we've got the dispatch receipt as well here, and when we have the receipt, and this is returned to you by the API call, and effectively this receipt is the method of saying that this data has been immutably stored on the Evident Proof blockchain. And here's a key that would allow me to navigate back to that data on the Evident Proof platform. So the proof certificate itself is literally a document that pulls together all of the information that we've been discussing. And you could present this in a court of law, and it would confirm that the data was stored on the blockchain in an immutable way through the Evident Proof platform. So let's say a year down the line, and somebody's challenged the integrity of a particular data or some data that we've had. We therefore need to go back and prove that that data was submitted, and this was the data at this particular moment in time. So what we can actually do is generate a proof certificate. So if I click on here, this will generate a proof certificate. Now, I'm doing this manually, but of course, within any line of application or business application, this would be generated through an API call to the system and would automatically be, it could be emailed or sent out as well, depending upon what workflow you want to put behind this. So when I create a proof seal, or I've created a proof seal certificate here, what happens is we put out a request, and this goes off to the blockchain and checks the data and the seal, and then finally checks that it matches to the source data. So if I click on the certificate here, as you can see, all of this looks familiar, but what we have here is the evidence verified seal, which is true, and the transaction ID. So it all looks fairly familiar, but the transaction ID is key here, really. And this is confirming that we've proved this taxi license here, and that this transaction ID can relate back to all of the evident proof data on the system. So as you can see from looking at this is a very sort of basic structure. All of the proof certificates can be fully customized, and any of the data that you want from your line of business application, we can consult with you on to check the governance behind this, to decide what data you want to upload. That's basically something that we carry out as part of the consultation process for onboarding any clients. Essentially, that's the end of the Evident Proof demo. If you've got any questions, please pop them over on Telegram or contact us through social media. And the next demo will be run on Thursday at 4 o'clock. Thanks for your time.